culture. My culture, though. Let's see what they talking about in here. What's up, little dog? You good? Y'all got something here for me? I'm talking about exclusive. They got all the dunks? How many dunks they got? Something like these. Y'all got a little vibe in here. They buying shoes, selling shoes, it feels like the culture. They dunking on people. Oh, they doing TikTok. They looking out for the kids. Oh, man, this is great, man. They got all the races working here. It just really feels like culture for real. You're looking for a black-owned shoe store to get some real drip at? Come up here to Culture Detroit, man. That's what the streets been missing. Welcome home, fam.
What up, though? Pistons fans, welcome back to another episode of the King and Do Show. As you guys can see, my partner is not with me tonight. He's running double duty with the Lions. But it's all Gucci because we have a special guest that may be coming on. Likely is going to be coming on in about 15 minutes with us. So we'll get to that soon. It's been a minute since we've been on here with you guys. Want to get a chance to catch up with everybody. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody's Tuesday going so far? Let me know. Sorry we got off to a late start. Just trying to get everything set over here for our guests and everything. What a week it's been. Has anybody seen that Jalen Duren dunk on LeBron? Did you guys see that? I think I may have saved that and put it on here. Let me see. Because I just came across it a couple of days ago. But it looks like they trying to hide it. It's crazy. Because you got to really search pretty deep to find it. But yeah, it was crazy. If y'all haven't seen it, go look it up. Yeah, Jalen Duren dunked all over. He dunked all over my GOAT, which is LeBron. So I kind of had mixed feelings about it. You know what I mean? Because that's my guy. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's always Pistons first. So you know how to go. Let me see if I can pull it up for y'all. Because I think like every Pistons fan needs to see this if they haven't already. And like seriously, like it literally seems like they tried to like censor this thing. Because like when I went looking, I had to really look for it. Usually when you look on Google for stuff, you can find stuff pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like type something there, you can find it. But I had to do an extensive search to find this. So he probably trying to, I see what he's doing. But yeah. So how's everybody doing tonight, man? How's everybody feeling? What's the latest that you guys have heard? I've heard a few things. I'm trying to wait for my guest to come on, but I don't want to keep y'all waiting either. So we may just go ahead and get into it. I got a question for y'all. Who do you guys think? Okay, now just hear out the question. Who do you guys think is going to be the Pistons' first option next season? Not who's the best player, but who do you guys think is going to be the first option? Because I got a few different ideas. I was thinking about it earlier today. About who it could be. I'm seeing this during it. Yeah, I did hear about this. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why JD was singing. He did leave that to me. Singing that Brandy song. I Want to Be Down was funny. Yeah, the thing is, like, that's been kind of swirling for a while now too, as far as the two of them kind of being an item. I didn't know about that, honestly, until recently. I don't even know if that's even like if that's cap or if that's actual like a fact, but definitely did see that. So I wonder how that's gonna play out. Somebody said if they have a baby, it's gonna be Charles Oakley's son or something like that. Something with Charles Oakley. I mean, nah, Charles Oakley was decent, but let's not compare Jalen Duren and his kids to Charles Oakley because I think he's heads and shoulders above him talent wise. Anyway, Josh Ford was good appreciate it, Josh. Appreciate y'all for showing up, man, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, who do y'all think is going to be the first option going into the season? I personally feel like it's going to be, I feel like Cade is going to average double digits in assists this season. I feel like he may average 20 and 10 this year. He may average a double this season with about 5 or 6 rebounds. But I definitely think that I'm just not sure if he's going to be the first scoring option. I kind of don't want him to be the first scoring option. You know what I mean? I would kind of rather it be somebody else so he can do what he does best. He can score when he wants to, but it seems like facilitating just is something that he really focuses on and harps on, which of course as a point guard, you love, right? Devin said Cade and Harris. Yeah, like, I don't know, man, because like I know we're not a great team right now, right? I know we're we're one of the bottom teams right now. I'll get it. But I just don't feel good about Tobias Harris being my leading scorer. You know what I mean? Like any team around the league, if somebody told you Tobias was your leading scorer, what would you think of that team? It's probably not a really good team, right? So I don't know, man. I think I can see something like this to where it just varies night to night, kind of like our old Pistons team, our 2014. That's kind of what it reminds me of, because it could be Sheed one night, it could be Chauncey one night, it could be Rip most nights, but not always, right? It could be Tayshaun here and there. So yeah, it just kind of depends. So I think that's a good call, Josh. I think it's going to be, as long as they play the right way and just move the ball and share the ball and play for each other, it could really just vary from night to night. That's a good take. Bro, like honestly, like I don't. We can get to this too, bro, because I don't think Hardaway or Beasley is starting. Shout out to Rise Above. I don't think either one of them are starting. Personally, I still think J.I. is starting. We're gonna get to that later, but yeah, I don't know why people think Tim Hardaway is gonna start. Honestly, like I know it's not always based off of the contracts, but contracts do play a big part, right? I know, you hear coaches say, you got to earn your spot, and that's true. But contracts do play a part. So, Tim Hardaway's at $8 million this year, and Beasley's on a $6 million prove-it deal, 1-year deal. He didn't really have a market, and he's not a great defender. So I really don't see why he would start either. Personally, I understand the shooting, but it's not just shooting isn't everything. It's not everything. You gotta look at a lot more than just shooting. I get it, but you gotta look at more than just that. Yeah, solid player. I'm going to watch. What's good? What's up, Devin? What's good, bro? Yeah, we got a bunch of guys that want to play the right way. I agree. Solid vets that can actually contribute on the court. Yeah. So I think, it really could vary from night to night. We can have I think we can have 3 or 4 guys averaging in the teens. Kate might get about 23, 24, 10, 11 assists. That's what I'm looking at. I can see J.I. at about 18, 19. Tobias at about 16, 17, something like that. I can see it. J.I. should be the leading, but we will get a go-to in time. Yeah, right. I think J.I. can be that. I think he has the highest ceiling. Almost, I don't know if I say the highest, but one of the higher ceilings out of our young guys. I think he's really just scratching the surface at this point. I voted for Harris to lead in points starting in November. Kamala. What's up, Tony? Hey, touche. I see you. That was pretty good. I wasn't expecting that one. Caught me off guard. Yeah, for sure. Kay will have a much easier time with the extra spacing we'll have. I see a few triple doubles for him this coming season as a result. For sure. That's a good take, Ryan. Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely going to have a lot more at his disposal this coming season. We talk about it all the time, just how much attention was always directed his way, how many eyes were always directed his way, just because they didn't really respect any of our offensive weapons, weapons or lack thereof. It wasn't really a lot of it. So I think now having more, options on the floor, more weapons on the court is really going to help him just have driving lanes and really be able to see the court a little bit easier. He's been he's been right there, man. He's been right there. They already have Case projected for Olympics 2028. If you had to choose who would make a team from the Pistons, who would? Ooh, that's a good question. Rise above. I definitely think Case should be there for sure. Do you mean like in addition to him? You mean like in addition to Cade? That's a good question, because we have to kind of project out 4 years from where these guys are now and where we think they'll be. I want to say J.I., but your starting backcourt is not going to go to it's just not going, you know what I mean? Rarely has that ever happened before where a starting backcourt has gone to the Olympics? Stephen Clay never did. Joe D and Isaiah never did, obviously. Just thinking about the good backcourt. Yeah, so I don't think that would happen. So Cade and probably either JD or Holland. Yeah, probably Sar. I think Asar is in talking about Holland and Asar. I think Asar, the difference between the two of them. I think Holland is more of a slasher, right? He's more of a slasher. I think Asar, and Holland really doesn't handle the ball. He's not a ball creator. He's not a shot creator. Asar is more of a creator. People talk about, Amen being the point guard, and potentially Asar playing some point at times. That's been something that's been mentioned. So I think that's the difference. Asar is more perimeter based, even though he can get into the lane and get into the to the paint. He's a great rebounder, one of the best rebounders for his position, right? But I think he just has more to his bag. I think he has more ball handling ability. Defensively, I think they're very, very similar. Very, very similar. I think Holland's a little bit stronger, but I think they both have the range of being able to guard 1 through 4, both of them. And some 5s, depending. So that's kind of my take for the two of them. If you guys have any thoughts on that, let me know what you think about those two guys. J.I.'s jumpers, yes, it is. It's looking much. Getting back to, Rise above. I'm gonna get back to your question though. His jumper is looking much, much cleaner. It seems like every season it looks a little bit more cleaner and cleaner. So that's good to see too. I see him getting to about 36%, 37% from 3-point. I'm gonna say 37% from 3-point next year for J.I. Getting back to this question though, I would probably say JD. I'd probably say JD, just because a lot of what we're learning too, a lot of it we already knew, but a lot of it, even more so, we're learning is the importance of relationships when it comes to Team USA, right? We're learning that. We're learning the importance of relationships and lack thereof relationships when it comes to players who are selected and who are not selected, And I think for JD and Cade, the fact that they've been there already helps them. It helps them. Grant Hill has already gotten a chance to get to know him. Steve Kerr's already got a chance to know him. You know what I mean? There's some familiarity there. So I think that will kind of give him an edge over somebody like an Asar, even though somebody like an Asar would be a great glue guy type of player, Tayshaun Prince type of player when he played there. Chris Paul just shouted him out, by the way, talking about how professional he was and how good he was for that team, Tayshaun Prince. But Asar could be that kind of guy. But I think just the rapport that JD's already built with Team USA, I think that is what would kind of give him the edge. Good question, though, Rise Above, for sure. Yeah, he got Duran or Asar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same page. Cade and Cooper flag to represent for Detroit in 2028. Right, exactly. Yeah, Cooper flag. Yeah, because we're definitely getting the #1 pick this year, right? Right, Ryan? That's hilarious. We're going to be defensive team. Yep. I think we can compete for a play-in spot this year. Maybe not make it, but definitely compete for a spot. Yeah, Ace, Boogie, I could see that. I've said for a while, I think the Pistons are going to have a Houston Rockets type of trajectory because they've already started that process. That process being going and getting veterans. Me and King say all the time about how everybody laughed at Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green and Dylan Brooks, those guys getting signed as the veterans to go to a young Houston team. They thought it didn't make sense. I personally, honestly, was a little bit perplexed by the veterans that they got. Not that they got them, but just the guys that they actually got. But it worked out. It worked out. It helped to transition the younger guys into their roles that they're going to have down the road while not putting too much pressure on them. Because I think Ime Udoka probably saw there was too much pressure on those guys. Probably saw it was too much pressure. Or that, when he probably walked in, he probably saw it was too much pressure for these guys and we got to get some veterans. So I think the Pistons doing that is going to help them, getting Tobias Harris here, somebody who's already familiar with the city. He can teach these guys some things about the city or give them his experiences about the city. Tobias Harris's brother actually played for EMU, Eastern Michigan. So he has a lot of familiarity with the city. And I think he can really help the young guys with that for sure. So I think definitely bringing in veterans, for a young team, is really what's going to help a young team learn how to win. Because when you're trying to figure out how to win in the midst of a losing streak and you have nothing to fall back on, it's hard because you're still trying to you haven't done it. You haven't been in a situation like that before. So yeah, so long story short, I definitely think, we can have that type of trajectory. I don't know if we'll make the playoffs, but I definitely think we can challenge for the playoffs and by getting into the play-in, like you said. So I definitely think that's possible. I think we're going to surprise a lot of teams this year by doing so too. We should have learned about the importance of relationships. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, Tony. That's exactly what I was saying. Exactly. Like we learned a little bit then, right? We should have had our heads turned then. But now, you see, how, shoe companies are coming into play with Nike because they're a sponsor for Team USA. And, if you got two guys vying for one spot, the guy who has the Nike deal versus the guy who has the Adidas deal, the guy with the Nike deal is going to get the nod. That's just what we're hearing. Right. I can't confirm that, obviously, but that's kind of what has been rumbling. That's kind of been the case. So we're seeing even more so, everybody here knows, as far as with Jaylen Brown not getting selected. And it's for me with Jaylen Brown, it wasn't the fact, okay, Derek White is a better fit. Okay, cool. I get it. I understand that part of it, but it's just the fact that 3 other guys are there and he's not. You know what I mean? Come on. That's the part for me that makes it seem like there's some legs to those theories about how important those relationships are. If you say something negative, it could take you down, the wrong path when it comes to opportunities like this. And Jaylen Brown is somebody who's not soft-spoken. He's going to speak his mind. He's very, very intelligent, very intelligent guy. So that was the part for me that kind of bothered me. It wasn't who they selected in place of him. It was just the fact that there was 3 other guys and he wasn't one of them, Everyone will break out and go harder because someone we won't name is man. We have somebody who cares. Like just listening to JB Bickerstaff and the things he was saying specifically about what he looks forward to doing with some of these guys like Cade and J.I., the details of the things that he was mentioning already that he wants to do is such a far cry from what we got from Monty. We just didn't get anything. We already know what he led with as far as why he wanted to be here. We're not going to mention that, but he just seems to care more. JB Bickerstaff just seems to care more, and that's important. Do you think JB is going to allow JD's facilitating to flourish? Man, he has the potential to be one of the better passing. And you know what's crazy, Josh? We saw that the season before last. We saw that out of him, and we saw it as early as summer camp. Or summer league, sorry. We saw this early as summer league, right? Finding cutters baseline out of the post, operating out of the post. And then it just kind of went away. Honestly, to me, it seems like, and I say it all the time, it seems to me like JD kind of checked out a little bit last season. Like, man, I'm not about to go hard for this. And I understand it's not the most professional thing to do, but that's just based on his play because if you didn't know anything was going on, you would have think he regressed this season from the first season. But I think that regression was just due to the lack of motivation, because I think he, like a lot of guys, realized this season is not going to be a good one. And not just because of the losing streak, right? That's kind of what it feels like to me. So, of course, that's something that he has to learn from because, obviously you got to be professional. But I do think, had you not been a fan of the Pistons and you just saw the games, you would have thought he had a huge regression. But I think it was more so just about the want to than the ability. I've always said that about JD on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. It just seemed like last year he just stopped doing those things. The things we saw the flashes of, he just stopped doing them. It's there. We all know it's there. We all know how good he can be. So I'm not really too concerned about last season because I think that's part of the why. But I do think that that's something that needs to be corrected for next season. And I think it will be naturally because we have a better situation, All right, let's see. Number 5 pick coming again. Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not. Don't jinx us, Ryan. Don't jinx us, bro. We need a champion and we need a champion that can still hoop. You know what I mean? We need a champion that can still hoop, not a champion at the end of the bench. And no disrespect, because a champion is a champion, right? But Corey Joseph was a champion when he came here. I'm not saying he didn't provide any insight or anything, but it only goes so far when you're not on the court, when you're not one of the guys, when you're not a guy. Not saying you got to be the guy, but you got to be. If Tobias was a champion, he would be a good enough player to be respected other than the fact that he's just a champion. You know what I mean? Corey Joseph was toward the end of his career. You know what I mean? It's a different situation. So I think we need a champion, like you say, Devin, but it needs to be somebody who can still hoop too. Somebody that you're listening to and then they're going to go to war with you, The East is easier than the West, so I think we can easily not be the one of the 5 worst teams in the East. Yeah. I think there's an opportunity for us to really make a move. Some of the teams at the bottom got worse, and some of the teams at the top kind of didn't really improve either. I think this one can be a great year for us to push 35 wins. That's kind of been my number, 35, 36, and I'm standing on that. I got 35 wins for the Pistons this season. How many do you guys have for the Pistons this season? How many wins you guys got for the Pistons? I have 35, 36. I think Ivy's going to average 22, 23. Ooh, okay. I'm not mad at that, Drake. Okay. Yeah, if he averages 22 and 23, that means Cade is averaging double-digit assists. That means Cade is averaging double-digit assists, and I'm here for it. Yeah, I really think we're going to see a lot more easy buckets this year, guys. Last year we didn't really see a lot of easy buckets. Everything seemed hard. Everything seemed hard off of a set that we had to get offensive rebound. I'm stretching it, right? But everything just kind of seemed hard. The offense didn't seem fluid. It didn't seem easy. We didn't get any leak out, layups, dunks, off of turnovers, points off turnovers. We didn't have a lot of that kind of stuff last year. We didn't have open threes from ball movement because guys are, on a string offensively, and the defense is not able to catch up to the basketball because of the way it's happened. We didn't have a lot of that last year. So I think if we get that, I could see an Ivy averaging 22, 23 because that means he's probably getting out on the break. And that's the kind of JI I want to see. So yeah, I definitely am a proponent or a fan of that, Drake. I could definitely see I could see that happening. I could see it happening. I could see him being the leading scorer. And I could see Cade being the lead assist man. I could see that. I really can. Cade in the Team USA form would be crazy. Certain games just translate. That's why I'm so high on Cade. Yeah, man, he just understands the game of basketball. And I'm with you, especially when it comes to that playoff piece. But yeah, I think his game will translate well in the USA game just because of how they play. He's one of those guys that you can just put him in the game and he's not going to hurt you. Him on Team USA, Derek White I think he had plus 15 efficiency just from knowing the next play to make. Derek White knows the next play to make. It's not always flashy. May not always be a play that ends up being, a bucket. But he knows the next play to make. He just understands the game. That's how Cade is. And then in this, offense that is a respectable offense, he's going to make the right play. He's not going to hurt you. It's just when you have him in a situation to where he has to shoulder so much load, it's a numbers game. You're going to make mistakes. It's just going to happen. But getting back to what you're saying, yeah, I want to see Cade in the playoffs. I cannot wait to see him in the playoffs. I cannot wait to see him in the playoffs. You learn a lot about guys in the playoffs, and I think we're just going to learn about how much of a leader he is, even more so. I saw a little bit of it in college, but it's one and done. With a 7-game series, I want to see the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of it. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to seeing that process for sure. See, JB Bickerstaff will make an average defender look good, and he's so high on Duren. Yeah, man. Like, Jalen Duren is better than Evan Mobley. He is. He just is. And I think we're going to see that. I really think, man, like, one thing I've always said is that, we don't need to go get a star. We don't need to go spend $25 million in a, $30 million on a star, $40 million on a star. We don't need to do that. Our stars are here. It's just we've been put in such a bad situation with the coaching staff and everything else, the roster construction, that they haven't been allowed to flourish. The stars are already here, y'all. Y'all can quote me on that. They're already here. The guys are here. I think we're finally just going to get a chance to see how good they are with a competent team and a competent coach around them. I really think it's going to be a lot of pleasantly surprised Pistons fans going into next season. He said he didn't give effort to... Yeah, right. He even admitted that. You're right. I totally forgotten about that. He actually... I don't know if he should have, but he's 19. But he actually said it. Like, he's being honest. Like, look, I didn't. It wasn't there tonight. The energy wasn't there. That's all. He has said that. So you're going to see a very different Jalen Duren next season, guys. I'm telling y'all. You're going to see it. It's going to happen. Casey was a much better motivator for Detroit than Williams. And yeah, he is. And Tony, I honestly feel like I don't think Monty Williams is a bad coach. I don't think he was a bad coach. I just think he checked out. I don't know if he came in with the motive of just wanting to check out as soon as he got the money. I'm not going to think that about anybody, right? I don't think that was the case, but I think when he saw how much work needed to be done, I think he just checked out. That's what I think. And so I don't think he was fit for this type of team. I don't think he's fit. Certain coaches, they just kind of resonate with the team, right? Larry Brown resonates with Detroit basketball. Chuck Daly resonates with Detroit basketball. Mike D'Antoni back in the day resonated with Phoenix basketball. Like Phil Jackson resonates with Bulls and Lakers triangle back. Like, you know what I mean? Like certain coaches, you can kind of brand them to certain types of style of play. And Monty Williams just didn't fit this style of play. He just didn't fit this city. He just didn't fit. It's not his fault. He just didn't fit. And I think he may have known that when he said no the first time. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. That's a great point by Tony. I think Casey and Bickerstaff, they just have a different edge about them. You know, and that's what I appreciate about Dwayne Casey. Even though it didn't show as far as the wins and losses, I did appreciate his style, just his grit. Old school. Let's see, because they didn't have a coach, so they gave up for yeah. Phillips talked about leading when down. Man, you preaching, bro. I always go back to when Cade was, I forgot what game it was, forgive me, but it was when Cade was, I think he got called for a foul, and he was disputing the call, and he was complaining to the referee, and then he started complaining to Monty, and Monty just looked at him like, he just looked at him with his arms folded, and Cade just looked back at him like, wow, you don't care. All right, got it. That was what I derived from that. From watching it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm watching basketball a long time. That's kind of what I got from that. So 40 wins, Dante. Okay, hey, that's ambitious, but hey, I'm not mad at that. Eddie, okay, 30 for Eddie. I'm home tomorrow. All right, Devin, appreciate you, buddy. 37 to 45. That's that, man. Rise above. If we get 37 wins, that's a huge win for this team. Everybody who's a fan of the NBA would think that is a huge win for the Pistons to get 37 wins, because you would. I mean, it's not saying much, but you would have more than doubled your win total easily. Easily, if you're able to. I mean, you get 14 wins. Doubling is not a lot. I know, I get it, but still, that's a major accomplishment. That in the East, I think, can push for the play-in, maybe a 10 seed. I'm taking that all day long. Eddie says 30, 34, 34. I think that's pretty realistic too. I'm excited to see a coach that will yell at the refs and his players once in a while. A motivator that holds his guys accountable along with providing encouragement. So Ryan, I am looking forward to getting some technical fouls this year. I am, because JB is not afraid to get in the referee's ear. I've seen it. One time I saw, I forgot what it was, but he asked for an explanation during a game. The referee gave him one. He said, "Oh, okay, so that's bull." Okay, got it. Literally, that's what he said. "Oh, okay, so that's bull." Like, he doesn't care. I like that about him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some texts this year. I don't care. I just want to see a coach that cares. I want to see it. A motivator that holds his guys accountable. Yeah, man. I just, honestly, as far as the reeling at the rest part, like, that's one thing I wish Casey actually did more of. Because even though he's old school, respectable, but I wish he even would have gotten more in the ref's ears every now and then, So yeah, but I know JB for sure is not afraid to do that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing JB Bickerstaff this year, man. I really just want to see him in action too, and just kind of seeing how he galvanizes these troops and kind of just, as a general of this team, leads his team. Our stars are homegrown. I didn't want the panic and overpay stars. I didn't either. Yeah, the front office did a good job. They did not do that. I just wanted good role players, and we did that. Yes. And rise above, that's the beauty of it. Like, when you are a team like Detroit, a franchise like the Pistons, that is not a destination as far as demographically, as far as, you know what I mean? Like, you have to really use whatever strengths you can to your advantage. You have to use what you can. We don't have, summer, hot weather season, all year long. We don't have that. We don't have beaches, every turn. We don't have these different things. So it's not a glamorous city. It's a tough city. So you got to use what you can to your advantage, because the way the CBA is set up now, you've only got your guys for a few years, and you can extend them. But after that, they're unrestricted. So you have to find reasons and create reasons for them to want to stay. And one of those reasons that a player will want to stay when it's time for extension and it's time for a new contract is because you believed in them. The draft, right? That's one of the best ways. That's why the draft is so important. That's why it's so important to do right by your draft picks, because these are going to be homegrown guys, right? We don't want a situation like OKC, where we got all this talent with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, and we got to choose between Serge and James Harden, and we pick wrong. We don't want to be in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Where we got to choose between JD and Asar. We don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you want to make sure that you give these guys the reasons to stay. That's all I'm saying. So that's why I'm with you, Razabov. They did a good job, man. They didn't go and overpay. They got guys who can help our young stars become superstars, potentially. You can't check out if you never check. Right. Yeah, Monty, I know. Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah. Yes, I actually was fatigued. What's up, Jay? If Duran Ivy start flourish, it will look good. Good point. Yeah, man. I still feel like Troy got a bad rap, man. I still feel like he got a terrible rap. He didn't make all the right decisions. I get it, but he didn't make all the wrong ones either. And you got to give him credit for those picks. For him even going and getting Duran. Because there was a Jeremy Grant trade once upon a time, right? That people kind of stuck their nose up at when he initially made it. And that ended up being the capital we needed a few nights later to end up getting Jalen Duran. So you do have to give Troy Weaver credit where it's due, right? You give him the blame and you also give him the credit, on both sides. So to your point, I think people are going to have a change of heart when it comes to him, when it comes to his drafting, because I think now that we have put these players in a better position to be successful, they can go out and be that. And that's going to reflect on Troy Weaver. So it's a good point. So let's get a few more and then we'll get to the topic that I have for tonight. Who's going to be our new GM? Great question. I haven't heard anything on this yet. That's a great question. I'm still waiting on that. I'm going to have to make some calls on that because I haven't heard anything. 38, 37. Cade making the All-Star game. That would be amazing. That would means, once again, he's averaging 20 and 10. If Cade makes the All-Star game, that means the Pistons are in pretty good shape too, record-wise. It may not be killing it, but that means they're in pretty good shape. 500, maybe even above or right below. If he's making the All-Star game, that's what that means. If used the right way, Tex can be a good strategic move. Absolutely, yeah. You got to have some grit to you, man. Got to. All right, let's get to some of Let's get to this topic. Because I only had one for tonight, but I wanted to get you guys in here. I wanted to make it kind of interactive tonight. Hadn't done a mailbag in a while, so I wanted to kind of get you guys involved. All right, a few more. I don't knock Troy Weaver's eye for talent because he was great scout for OKC. I just wasn't big on the GM getting role player. Yeah, right. Right. I felt like that was his strength. 100%. I feel like, he could have used some work in the other areas, right? But he did, in my opinion, hit on the draft, especially considering the draft luck we had, bro. Other than Cade, we had 5, 5, and 5. You know what I'm saying? 5, 5, and 5. So, who's to say if we don't have the third pick? Instead of 5, 5, 5, what if it's 2, 3, 2? You don't think he's taking Chet? You don't think he's taking Jabbar? You know what I mean? You don't think he's taking those other guys? Of course he is. You don't think he's taking Paolo? Whoever's available, yeah, absolutely. So we got to look at that too. All right. So let's go ahead and get to this. And we'll come back if we got a little time at the end. I want to ask y'all this. Who will benefit most from the new coaching staff? I'm going to wait to get my take because I want to see some of you guys' answers. But I really want to know who you guys think is going to benefit most from this coaching staff. We already know. We're not going to talk about it to death about the previous coaching staff, right? We get it. We just spent the last 15 minutes talking about it. But I want to know what you guys think is going to be the beneficiary of this new coaching staff. I got a couple guys in mind, but like I said, okay, I'll give you guys my first one. Okay, so there's 3 guys. The first guy who I think is going to benefit the most, it's probably going to be the same answer and the obvious answer as a lot of you guys. But Cade, definitely. Because so many times last year, right? Just think back. So many times last year when Cade was running the offense, right? He run the offense and the defense would be so focused on him. As soon as he crossed half court, you got 8 eyes on him. Because teams knew that we were limited offensively, right? And he still somehow averaged 23, 7, and 5, which is crazy. But he's going from that to having more spacing and a coach who turned his last backcourt into an all-star backcourt. right? So I think he's definitely going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this new coaching staff. And then two, if you think about it, JB Bickerstaff, he also mentioned that he wants to experiment with his roster, and with the lineups. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him moving around a little bit, Cade moving around, maybe the shooting guard here and there, experimenting, point, maybe even small forward a little bit, putting him in the post as a shooting guard. We're going to see a lot of interesting things, I think, this season. Let's see what you guys think. Let's get you guys in here. Let's see, Ivy, Asar, and JD. Okay. A couple of guys I had in mind. It's going to be Jaden. That's who I think. Well, I'll hold it. I'll hold it. But that's who I think may be the guy. Everyone, appreciate it. I got K averaging 24 points, 8 assists. That's very realistic, Dante. Very, very realistic. I think we see that, we'll be in pretty good shape. And that's the thing. He doesn't need to up his point. He's already at 23. 24, 25 is, I think we're going to see from him as far as his point total and his average for next season. I think you're going to see the assists go way up. You're going to see, a very, very good Cade Cunningham next season. Ivy, I'm with it. Ivy and Twin would benefit because they will be allowed to make mistakes. Very good point. Asar, JD, okay. Cade, we'll see him play in space. I'm with Johnny on this. He has better vets around him and a coaching staff that can actually help him improve his game. I know it doesn't seem like much, but I think the little things are going to make all the difference with him. I think we're really going to see how much he had to endure last year when it comes to defense, offensively, as far as shouldering that load. I think because it's easier now, we're going to see how hard it was, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think this is the year. This is. I think the Pistons are going to be the breakout surprise team of the season. We're going to be the surprise team of the season. It may sound, like it's biased, but I'm telling you, I've been watching basketball for a long time, man. Watching Pistons for a long time, and it just has that feel. It just has that feel. Can Monty Williams be heard over? Right. Jaden Ivey. Hard to pick one player. It is Ivy. JB already has a plan for him, and that will pump up Ivy to get the chance that he was robbed of by Monty last year. Yep. I think Ivy's going to benefit from JB the way Darius Garland benefited from JB. A lot of people were wondering if Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can fit. They were wondering if they can mesh. They thought they're a little bit redundant, overlapping as far as their skill sets. He made it work. They both were all-stars. So if anybody can do it, I believe he's the guy that's suited for that. And I think that may have been the draw for him to come here and the draw for the Pistons to want to bring him here because they've seen him do it. Cade 2, JB says he's a two-way player. Cade has a 7'1" wingspan. Go watch him guarding Tatum late game last year. Yes, bro. Absolutely. Like I said before, man, anytime your coach is saying that they want to turn your star player into a two-way player, sign me up all day long. Preach to the choir. Like, that's 100%. You don't have too many guys in the league like that. I always mention it, and I love this guy, right? Luka Doncic. I love Luka. I absolutely love Luka. Luka is one of the best offensive players I've ever seen in my life. It just doesn't make sense. His IQ is off the charts, man, and he's crazy. But anyway, like I said, offensively, I can't call him a two-way player because he doesn't give the effort on defense. He just doesn't. We saw what happened in game 4 of the finals last year when he did get effort. Number one, they won the game. And number two, his shots were coming up flat. His shots were coming up short, front iron every time because he was tired, because he's not in shape. He's not in good enough shape to play both sides of the ball. He's in shape to play offensively because that's what he wants to do, right? That's why he's drinking this beer, and Michael Finley's coming and taking the beer out. That's why that's happening, because Michael Finley needs him to play defense. He needs him playing both sides of the ball. He needs him in shape. And having a guy like Cade Cunningham, he can do that. He can do that because he is, once again, he's not looking to score 27, 28, 29, 30 points a game. That's not what he's looking to do, right? And he also is in pretty good shape. He's got a pretty good diet from what we've been told, from what we understand, right? So yeah, he has the measurables for it, and he's strong enough. He's gotten stronger. He's continuing to get stronger. right? I've seen him offensively body Jimmy Butler at the rim. Second game of the season. Or was it second game or first game? Whichever game of the season last year we played the Heat to start the season. He was going at Jimmy. He was pushing Jimmy up off of him, getting to the bucket, getting the layup and letting the ball bounce off his head as it comes through the net. Like he's strong, man. He's strong enough to do that. So you're right, rise above. Watching him guarding Tatum. And the 2 years before, watching him and Isaiah Stewart stuff Jaylen Brown at the rim to end the game. Like we've seen him clamp guys. We've seen him do it. So, but I think what I think too with Cade? I think with Cade, he was conserving a lot of his energy for the offensive end because he knew he was pretty much the primary weapon out there other than Jaden Ivey. But Jaden Ivey still is learning, right? So he knew he was the primary weapon offensively. So he has to conserve energy, right? I think that was the case last season, and him having some of the load taken off of him, having a guy like a Tobias Harris who can go get buckets every now and then and Cade can just chill on that possession, is going to give him the energy he needs throughout the rest of the game to be able to clamp defensively. It's so much of a domino effect of having these guys here on the team now that's going to help in so many ways, and I just can't wait to see it. I just can't wait to see it. I'm kind of nerding out right now, but hey, it is what it is. For sure. Hey, all day long, man. Yeah, salute. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you saying that, bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. All day long. Cade and JD and Ivy. I'm with it. Cade on the USA Select team. A team with talent spacing proved he was the best player on the... Yeah. It's like whenever he's put in a situation like that, Josh, he always kind of rises to the crop. He always rises to the top. He always is the cream of the crop. Even when you think about like the rookie game. Remember the rookie game? When all things were equal on both sides and both teams were even? He was the best player. And he hit the game-winning, the game-sealing three. I think it was a championship game. Of that, I know it's just a rookie game, but I'm just saying, when all things are equal and your team is not inferior than the other team most nights, you're going to show how good you are. It's just going to happen. You just got to have some guns with you. So, yeah, that's a great point, Josh. People forget how good he was with USA or the select team, how good he was in the rookie game. Anytime he has talent around him that is equal to the opposition, he's going to shine. It is what it is. The second person to benefit the most will probably be Durham. Yeah, I'm with that. So let me get to my second guy. Y'all said Ivy. I also said Ivy. And you guys already hit it, man. Like I might have to get my take before y'all do, because y'all hitting it. So listen. So the thing for me with Ivy, so like I actually sat down and thought about this. Like I actually sat down about and just kind of thought about what he might be experiencing in this whole process. The way he's being treated on the job, right? That's basically what's going on. So just think about it. I thought about it. So imagine this. Imagine you getting hired for a job, right? And in your first year, you got to learn and perform on the fly. 3 weeks into the job without one of your best coworkers to help you learn for the rest of that year. So 3 weeks in, your best, your coworker, your friend who knows the job, who can really help you out, he's out for the rest of the year. So you learn it by yourself. So imagine you then still showing up and performing above expectations. You figured it out. You just, trial and error, figuring it out, but I'm showing up. Then the following year, right, your boss tells you that you're getting demoted for somebody else whose numbers are not near yours. And your hours are getting cut. You're making less money and you're getting cut. So granted, like you got demoted because, you had some areas of improvement too, like everybody else at your job, right? But you're the only one who's getting demoted. And the person who's taking your position, they ended up getting fired at the end of that year after consistently underperforming to the point where their own relatives won't even hire them. If that were, and what I'm referring to with that is Team France not even picking up Killian Hayes, who I have respect for, but just following the analogy. If that were the average person, what would you do if you were put in that position? You probably take some kind of action, right? You probably talk to your boss or file a complaint or quit, right? Because you deserve better, right? That's basically what happened to Jaden Ivey. That's what happened. But he never quit. He didn't complain. He didn't give up. I talked to his pops. You guys saw the interview. He talked offline and on the interview, he told me that. He said, hey, man, Jaden is unfazed. He's going to keep working. He knows at the end of the day, his work is going to shine through. He's not worried. He told me. This is so like, he's different, man. That level of maturity for a young player is invaluable. Second-year player. So I have Cade starting with J.I. I have J.I. starting with him. And to me, it doesn't make sense to bring him off the bench for 15 to 17 minutes a game, right? When you have a young core like we do, and when you have a new coach. This is the season for us to find out what we have in Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham as a duo. This is the year to find out what you have in this starting backcourt. Even if you got to overdo it just to be sure, do it. Get as many reps as possible. After this season, the last thing I want to hear is, man, we still don't know what we got in Cade and J.I. as a backcourt. We just haven't seen. No, I'm not trying to hear that anymore. We've already heard that enough. I've said it too much. 68 games out of a possible 164. Y'all heard me say it, that they played together. This is the year to find out, right? This is the season. If Jaden is only playing 15 minutes to 17 minutes a game as a backup point guard, right? Because Cade's probably going to play 32, 33, 34, right? There's no way you can decipher what you have between the two of them together. I think J.I., just getting a chance to show what he can do next to Cade for a full year, that alone is going to help him. It's going to help his confidence and just the consistent reps with the same 5 guys. That gets overlooked a lot too, right? When guys are shuffling in and out of the lineup, you can't develop chemistry that way. You can't have conversations with these guys. Hey, what do you like? What do you like the ball like? You like it in your pocket? You like it up? You can't have any conversations like that. You can't build any chemistry that way. So just him getting the reps with Cade as his backup partner, as his starting backcourt partner, and just having the same guys on the floor, just having that continuity and that consistency there with the starting lineup, that alone is going to help all these guys, but Jaden Ivey in particular, and he needs that. It's hard to be effective when your starting 5 is shuffled every other night, and when you got guys who just dropped 50 points for you, get sent back down to the G League. Like, you don't even know who you're playing with. So I think that alone is going to help Jaden Ivey tremendously this coming season. Okay, let me see y'all thoughts on my thoughts. Let's see. Ivey is so unstoppable when his mind is clear. Look at what he did to the Kings. Yeah, man, that Kings game is the one that stands out to me, bro. That Kings game stands out. 100%. I always think back to that one. I think Ivey's best quality is his humility, maturity. You can't shake that man's mental. 100%. You hit that on the head. You can't shake. You can't shake his approach, man. Like he's solid. Up here, he's solid. The question I keep asking myself is, what happens to Ivey's role if we get a backup vet point guard? Cade and Ivey didn't look that great when playing at the same time. So I think the backup veteran point guard is going to be more so the veteran point guard for whenever there's foul trouble or whenever the offense is just stuck in the mud, right? I think because the way I see it, the way I envision it, Johnny, is, Cade is a starting point guard. Ivey's a starting shooting guard. When Cade goes to the bench, you sub Cade out, maybe 5 or 6 minutes in. You let J.I. run the point guard. And then you bring in Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley to be the shooting guard. That's kind of how I see that 3-guard rotation playing out. I don't think both Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. are both going to get consistent minutes every night. It's going to be one of those two. 3 of those 4 guys between Cade, Jaden, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Beasley. 3 of those 4, I believe, are going to get consistent minutes, but not both. Especially if you're going to have Ivey sliding to the 1 when Cade goes to the bench, and then you're bringing in one of those guys. And then when you sub Ivey out, now you can put Cade back in and let him continue with either Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr. So one of those 2 are going to be spot guys for me, or the backup point guard. I think one of those 2 guys, of Beasley and Hardaway Jr., are going to be, one of those inconsistent guys who you need, and also that other veteran point guard who I would like to be Dennis Jenkins, right? To be the guy that comes in if you need him, if Cade and Ivey are in foul trouble, right? If, they're having a bad night and just turn the ball over, if they don't have it going, then you try to switch it up, spice things up a little bit, and then you just try to infuse a little bit of a different look. That's how I see that backup point guard, or that veteran backup point guard position being, as well as either Tim Hardaway Jr. or Michael Beasley, or Malik Beasley, one of those 2. Hope that makes sense, Johnny. Now, if you're talking about who would benefit the most from the staff in general, I think Asar. If he gets a corner three, then he'd be in. Man, come on, Freddie. Come on, Freddie. Come on, Freddie, man. Fred Vincent, man. I really want to see. We got to temper expectations too. I'm just being silly, but we got to temper expectations. We can't expect by the All-Star break to Asar to be at 45% shooting from three. You know what I'm saying? We can't do that. We really have to understand this is going to be a 3-4 year process with his shooting. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's so important to make sure that these guys are happy here. Because when the time comes for their extension, you want them to be happy. If he's entering the beginning of his prime come extension time and he's not happy, how is that good for us? You know what I'm saying? Which is, once again, rise above, like you said, it's important to always make sure that you take care of your homegrown guys who you draft. Right? So yeah, 100%. 100%. I can see Asar being that guy. If he gets a corner three, he's an all-star, in my opinion. I just don't know if he can get. I don't know if he can get it. I really hope he can. His mechanics look good. I don't know if he's going to get enough reps. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's going to get enough. I don't know. I hope so. I really hope so, because I love watching him play, man. I love watching him play. Him and Jaden Ivey on the break together is going to be fun to watch. Watch out. Two of the fastest players in the league from end to end. Anyway, yeah, good point about Asar, though. I'm with you on that. Okay. You got rotation. How 1980s? Those are 15 players. It's 24, 25. So what? So listen, if you knew anything about JB Bickerstaff, you would know he doesn't even like to use deep lineups anyway. He normally goes no deeper than 9. That's how it's been. That's what he did when he was with Cleveland. That's how he runs his offense, right? So once again, there isn't room for all of these guys to play every single night. Even though there are 15 players, how many of those 15 players are playing every night, Jay Ragland? How many DMPs are most of those guys 11 through 15 getting consecutively? It's just how it is now. Everybody's not playing 10, 12. It's funny. That's honestly how they used to do. Think about the Pistons team in 04. Those were the days when they played a lot of guys, actually. Those were the years when they played a ton of guys, not the 80s. But I understand what you're saying. But once again, JB Bickerstaff, he doesn't like to, unless he changes things up, his whole coaching, strategy, he's gonna go with 9, maybe 10 guys. And I think for the young guys, one thing you gotta understand too, Jay Ragland, who is getting the minutes? Who do we want to get the minutes? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't want Tim Hardaway Jr. getting 25, 30 minutes a night. I don't want that. Do you think he's going to be here when we potentially, hopefully, are contending for a championship? Malik Beasley, do you think he's going to be here when we are potentially hopefully contending for a championship? No. But Kate Cunningham has more of a likelihood if he is able to continue to improve. Jaden Ivey has more of a likelihood if he continues to improve. Asar has more of a likelihood if he continues to improve. Jalen Durr has more of a likelihood if he continues to improve. You see what I'm saying? Their ceilings are way higher than these guys. Why are we putting so much effort into these guys who we know who they are? And they're likely not going to be here when time comes for us to be the team we want to be. Why would you give minutes to those guys just for the sake of giving them minutes? No. You get these guys reps now who are young. The guys who are going to be your future. You get those guys minutes. If it means cutting into one of your veterans minutes, but it's affecting your young guys' long-term growth, why are you not doing that? Why are you just playing guys to play them? What's the point? What is the mission for us as Pistons fans? What do we want to see? We just trying to get to the play-in? We trying to get to the championship? We trying to get to, what are we trying to accomplish? That's why you only play a 3-card rotation, because those guys at those positions are the guys you want leading your team to championship runs. That's why. That's the whole point. The guys who are here now are more so temporary to help these guys get to that point. That's the point. I don't think Stu gets enough credit for being the glue guy. If it were up to me, I want him on the team to lead. Man, I mess with you, Josh. I mess with that 100%. I've been saying this for so long. Some guys are just you know what I mean? He's going to be I won't say he's going to be. I really believe that Isaiah Stewart is going to be a Pistons lifer. I do. The same way Udonis Haslem was a Miami Heat lifer. It's not. I'm not saying he's going to have that much of a limited role, right? And what I'm saying is that I think he's going to have an important role. But what I'm saying is, I think just he embodies that. It's you got to have the way we talked about having a coach that embodies that. You got to have guys around, just around that embody that are not going to let you slip, that are not going to let you be lazy, that are not, you know what I mean? You need those guys around when you're in the weight room. Just guys around. Hey man, finish that last set. What you doing? You just need guys. Get off your phone. Hey, get off your phone. Finish that. You just need guys. You need guys who fit the mold of who we are all the time. And he's one of those guys to me. I 100% agree, and I hope he is, man, because he just fits. He just fits with, and I think whoever comes here, kind of like I'm not sure if you guys remember the Bad Boys documentary, but Bill and Beer. And I think it was Rick Mahorn. Maybe it was just Bill and Beer. He used to always say whenever a new player, and I know it was the 80s, and I know I'm dating myself, I know. But it's still the same mindset as far as accountability. Bill and Beer would always tell whoever would come to the team, whether it's Mark Aguirre or whoever, that, hey, this is how we do business here. So you have to get on board. You know, you got to get right and get left, basically. He would set the tone early that this is how we operate, right? And I understand it's a different game now, but there is still some credence to that mindset. You still can have that type of influence when you're a veteran player who's been with this organization for a long time, right? So I 100% agree with Josh on that point, 100%. JB doesn't have an undersized backcourt either. Both his point guard and shooting guard were 6'1", and they were mismatches, 100%, 100%. And this is another reason as to why I love this backcourt potential, man. They're big. Pause. They're big. Kate is 6'7", 6'8" if you include his fro. J.I., he's 6'4", right? So you have a big. Your smallest player is 6'4", and he's not a skinny 6'4" either. He's a solid, strong 6. You know what I mean? So you have a big starting five. Defensively, you can really do some damage. It's going to take some strides from J.I., right? Some strides from all these young guys, not just him. J.D., even Asar, all these guys learning at the NBA level. But that's a great point, Rise Above, because they still were one of the best defensive teams in the league despite that, in large part because of their front court, right? But who's to say that, Tobias Harris with JD is not the front court I want. The front court I want is Isaiah Stewart and JD. But I do think, we definitely need to take advantage of our size, especially in that backcourt, 100%. Mismatches galore. Let's see we'll see J-Rag. We'll see. We definitely, I'm just giving my piece. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving my piece of what I think. But we'll definitely see what happens. I'm with you on that for sure. We're not doing that. Not tonight. Supposedly we knew who Blake Griffin was. Hey, touche. Okay, I'm with you. Rise Above and Stu and Durham were bullying. Yeah, man. Bullying Mobley and Allen. And they can switch on to guards. If we can bring defense back to the D, then we're back. 100%. And that's why I wanted Stewart to start. Because he just brings that formidable presence along with Jalen Duren. I just like mentally what that can do to teams before they even step on the court. You know what I just like that. I just like the way that kind of effect that can have. So yeah, if we do that, we're back. Honestly, JD was doing it by himself, bro. I think it was a game or two when Stewart didn't play, and JD offensively was getting whatever he wanted on both of them. It was one play where he took both of them. I forgot what he did. I think he did. I forgot the play, but he ended up dunking on both of them on the same play. He stared at both of them. I'll find it and I'll see if I can play it next time we're on here. But yeah, the two of them together, we're bullying it. I'm sorry. Let's see. The trade deadline, Stu and TJ is gone for Ingram. I don't know how to feel about Brandon Ingram, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I like Brandon Ingram, but I don't know. He hasn't been healthy. What's one thing about Tobias Harris that I love, or that we all love, is that he plays. He plays 70 plus games, right? He's usually pretty healthy. That's one thing I like. I don't want to bring in a Brandon Ingram. it's been tough, man. These last couple years with these injuries, it's been hard. It's been hard to not see enough of our guys at full strength. It's been hard seeing a different starting lineup every other night. It's been hard. It's been hard, man. I'm not wishing, and I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but the track record is a track record, man. It's hard for him to stay healthy. It's hard for him to stay healthy, man. And where do you put him? You know what I mean? Like, if you bring him in, what is that doing to Asar and his growth? You know, what is that? You already brought Tobias in. You're going to put Ingram at the 4 and put Tobias on the bench after you paid him $26 million? Or are you going to put Tobias at the 3 and Ingram at the 4? And once again, what do you do with Asar and his growth? You know, I really just want to let these young guys play, man. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I really don't even want Brandon Ingram. I would welcome him and I would support him with open arms and all that. I'm not saying I like him. I'm just looking at a team construction, man. I'm looking at where we are time-wise, and I'm looking at how bad the team was last year and how bad the coaching was last year, and I'm not allowing that to put a damper on how good I think these young guys really can be, man. I think we really got something special with these guys. I really do. I really do. And that's why it may seem like I'm just like, man, Deuce don't like any of these trade proposals. He don't like any of these free agents. Nah. But it's just because I don't want anybody getting in the way of these young guys, man. I just don't. I've seen too many young guys here go somewhere else and be successful. I guarantee you, if we let Jaden Ivey go, if we trade Jaden Ivey, he's going to, you know, man, in the way he's built, he would make sure of it too. Oh, really? No, we're not. See, no, we can't do that, man. We can't. I've seen it happen too many times. We can't do it. Mega Hustle, what's good, bro? Yeah, that one season, Blake transformed into top scoring stretch for top post player. Yeah, he did. I have to give him credit for that. I gave him credit for that. I actually wasn't even a fan of that Blake Griffin trade because I don't want to give up Tobias and Avery Bradley. I thought we could have used, that money a little bit better for somebody who was more healthy. I felt like Stan Van Gundy was trying to save his job. Blake did give us everything he had, and he did transform I think he was all NBA 13, right? So I was pleasantly surprised by what we got from Blake based on what I thought we were getting. I will say that. I thought he was just going to be Lob City all day long like he was when he was at the Clippers. So, yeah, for sure. What's good, Emerald? Yeah, you remember, Ryan. You remember. Yep, for sure. I think Sasser, THJ could be moved. I could too. And I like Marcus Sasser, man. I just don't see a place for him. I don't see a place for Marcus Sasser at this point. I just don't know where. We just talked about that veteran backup point guard spot. He's not a veteran. So what do and he's not a point guard really. So we need a veteran point guard backup for security, right? For insurance, who's probably not going to play. So even if you try to put Sasser in that role, he's not going to play. And if you put him in the shooting guard role, we just signed 2 shooting guards in free agency. So he can't play there either. So where do you put him? The only way I see him playing is if we don't have a backup veteran point guard and he's the 4th guard or 5th guard or 2nd point guard, 3rd point guard, and we're just in foul trouble. Or that's the only path I see for him. And I don't see that happening too often. So I just don't see a role for it's more so of a roster situation than not nothing to do with his play. Because he's a fantastic player, man. He's a great player. We'll do a few more and we'll call it, all right? I'll be okay with the Stu trade if we're getting a guy that'll help push us for a chip, like when the Celtics trade Smart for Porzingis. Yeah, and you know what? I respect that you use Marcus Smart, somebody else who's also gritty, and somebody else who also was the heart and soul of that team. So I understand what you're saying, Johnny, on that one. You would hate to give a guy like that up, but if you're getting that type of talent, at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is, right? At that point. But I don't think that's going to present itself. But if it does, I mean, yeah, y'all know how I feel about Stu. I'm one of Stu's biggest fans. I love him as a player and a person, But I do feel Trajan Langdon's going to do his best for this team, or whoever he hires is going to do his best for this team. I do have confidence in that for sure. Yeah, 6'4" lightning quick Jaden Ivey. Yeah, man. Yep, 100%, man. You're not funny, Emerald. That's not funny. Look who just showed up. Man, if you don't get your butt in here so I can kill you again. King just popped up out of nowhere. Oh man, hey, we got a Matrix fan. That's what's up. And yeah, man, I just can't get with it, bro. I don't know, man. Yeah, no more. I just don't want anybody. I don't want to. I'm tired of saying what if. I feel like I'm in a Marvel TV show. I'm tired of saying what if over and over again. Man, if this guy was healthy, man, if he was healthy, man, if this didn't happen, man, if we had a coach who cared, man, I don't want no more of that. I don't want any more. Like, I'm tired of that. I just want to see my team play basketball at a high rate. That's all I want to see. Yeah, I like Ingram's game, but Trajan must know something about it for not. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, and this is I think it's the thing we all know, bro. I think it's just the injuries. Trajan didn't extend Ingram and Nola. Why would he? Good point. Good point. He did not. I'm not for it. Trading just to make a trade is not a recipe for success. I'm out on Ingram movie. Yes. Yes, Josh. Yes. I think sometimes us as Pistons fans, and I'll include myself in this, even though I think I've gotten better with it over the years. Sometimes have you guys ever seen that meme where I think it's a meme. It's just this person, and he's got this little stick in his hand, and he's just poking this doll. And he's just like, come on, do something. Come on, do something. Do something. I feel like Pistons fans are kind of like, when we're losing and when we're not good, and there's a terrible trade proposal that's on the table for us, that's going to set us back 5 years. Pistons fans like, come on, man. Come on, Troy. Do something, Troy. Do something. Do something, Troy. You can't make a move just to make a move. You know who just did something? Stan Van Gundy. When he traded Blake Griffin for Tobias Harris and Avery Bradley, when he could have gotten so much more than that. We're not here to just do something. Like I said before, I understand patience is boring. Patience is boring, right? The process is boring, right? In the beginning, it's boring because you don't see instant success, right? But that's not how winners are built. That's not how the Pistons either time were built. Either time. It wasn't, instant oatmeal where we just had it like that right away. We went from one season not in the playoffs to the very next season, like the Phoenix Suns in the finals when they did that. Remember the bubble year when Devin Booker made that shot over Paul George and Kawhi at the buzzer, and they didn't even make the playoffs. And the very next season, they're in the finals. Yeah, that don't happen too often. And we had that coach that did that. So we really see it doesn't happen often, right? But anyway, yeah, you definitely have to build it slowly, man. You just gotta take your time. You can't just do something. You can't just do something. You gotta do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is nothing. I think right now, the right thing to do is nothing. Sit back, get your popcorn, watch these young guys play, watch these coaches coaching. That's all we should be doing right now. No trade, no huge trades, none of that. I think we're done. I think the Pistons are done. No, I think we're done. The free agency, the cap is pretty much spent, except for about 7-8 million, I think. We're done. I don't think we're going to try to do a sign and trade. We're not using that extra cap to facilitate a trade. No, I don't think we're doing any of that. I think we're done. So I think the best thing to do right now is to sit back and just enjoy this team. I think that's really what is going to happen. Guy, yeah. Clintman, man, we talked about him at length the last few streams. He's going to be a good player for this team. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar and like that, but I think he's going to be a very good rotational piece for this team. He's a good player, man. He's very, very smart. Very, very smart player. And I'm looking forward to seeing his game translate. I think it's going to translate pretty quick because he's already played pro ball. He's 21 years old. And he just seems to have not just an understanding, but a comfortability out there. Like, even watching him in Summer League, when he made that no-look pass, right, to, I forgot the big man's name under the hoop. He faked the pass to the shooter at the elbow, and he dropped it to the big man under the hoop. He had this look of just fun on his face, a look of just enjoyment on his face. Like, he knew what he was doing the whole way. He knew the defense was going to bite, and he knew he was going to have a drop pass for an easy lay. Go back and watch it. I pay attention to stuff like that. So I think his game is going to translate pretty quickly. And like I said before, I think he is going to be in the rotation post All-Star break. Not starting, but I think he's going to be in the rotation post All-Star break. I think he's going to be that good. This team is young. Roles have to get defined. A lot of these young guys are still learning, right? A lot of guys who are in the NBA now aren't that much further ahead than these guys who are just coming out of college or coming playing pro ball, because these guys playing pro ball are older when they get drafted, and our draft picks are younger when they get drafted. So they're not that far apart. Okay, let's see. Yes. Best thing is about yes. You know it. You know the vibes, Josh. You know what it is, bro. Let's see what Eastside talking about. Sasser grew on me. I kind of want them to take a flyer on Lonzo. Coming off the bench, getting back in the groove, showing he can make a run, but I know health-wise. Yeah, man. I like Lonzo too, bro. I like Lonzo, man. He's another guy. He just plays the game the right way. I feel like Lonzo was like a less gifted Cade. You know what I mean? As far as like how he plays, they don't have the same game, but like they both are big guards who played the game the right way. Both have high IQs. Lonzo has a high IQ. He has a high. He's a good player, man. He's just not extremely athletically gifted. He doesn't have, he's not a sniper. He's really good, but I feel like he is just hurt all the time. He's just hurt all the time. And it's just, I don't think he is good enough to take that risk, if that makes sense. But I love his game. I love him as a player, man. Yeah, I wish he could stay healthy. Hopefully he can get healthy, man, because he can really be a good player in the league. Ivy as starter or 6-man backup point guard? Ivy's a starter. So Cade is a starting point guard. Ivy's a starting shooting guard. Cade goes to the bench 5-6 minutes into the game. Ivy slides to the point guard spot. When Cade goes out, one of either Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley comes in to play the shooting guard spot as Ivy slides to the point guard spot. When Ivy goes out of the game, maybe about 8 minutes into the game, you bring Cade back into the game to play the point guard, and you leave Malik Beasley in there or Tim Hardaway Jr. in there to finish out the quarter. Bring Jaden Ivey back in the start of the second quarter. That's kind of how I see it. That's kind of how I see it happening. I think that's the only way to get Jaden Ivey the 30-plus minutes that everybody else who's a starter, or that's a young guy on his team, right? Asar's getting 30 minutes, probably, right? If he starts. JD's getting 30 minutes for sure. Cade's getting 30 for sure. Why not J.I.? Why? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? So that's the only way to get him that 30 minutes is to have him slide and let him play the point guard spot once Cade goes to the bench, and have him as a shooting guard when Cade is in the game. Okay, let's get a few more, and then we're going to call it for real. John Wall, same thing, Ryan. Like, he's just always hurt, bro. Like, I don't want anybody who's injury prone at this point. I hope Dennis Jenkins makes the team. I do too. I want Dennis Jenkins to be my insurance point guard. To King's point, King wanted an insurance point guard who is experienced, somebody who can settle things down, which I 100% agree with, and I'm not mad at. My thought process was Dennis Jenkins is going to come in and take whatever role is given to him. He's just trying to make an NBA roster. He's not expensive. He's going to play whatever role you need him to. He's not going to be throwing fits about not playing every single night. You know what I'm saying? No ego. He's just going to come in and do his job and do it harder than most players in the court, because he's trying to keep his job and he's trying to stay in the NBA. So that's why I would like a guy like Dennis Jenkins, who has proven that he can play at the NBA level. Give him a shot. But I do understand King's point as far as winning a bet. It's just like, how do you toe that line? How do you get the best of both worlds, right? It's kind of hard. So either one of those guys, or either one of those situations, I wouldn't be upset with. Okay, let's see. Clinton as Woody Monty Bates wants to. I don't know why that made me laugh so hard, bro. Oh man. Okay. All right, Josh. I might have to call it, man. You. Oh, that's hilarious, man. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, I like Imani Bates, man. Imani Bates he's a bucket. He's a bucket. I just think that's his calling card. Clintman is more of a well-rounded player. Clement could play point guard. He could play some point. He's comfortable playing 1 through 4. And then I think it was the draft combine. He actually said he's comfortable playing 1 through 4. Right now, of course, that's not the NBA level, but I look at comfortability just from the offensive standpoint. Being able to have the confidence to play the one is interesting to me. I don't know if we'll see too much of that, but I definitely think he could play a touch or two in 3 or 4 for sure. Okay, man, that was funny though. That was funny. We'll see, man. As far as the Jaden Ivey thing, we'll see. That's just kind of how I think will be best for everybody, all the young guys. Who do we have to trade to get Lonzo? I don't want Lonzo, Johnny. I don't want him, man. I can't even do it. Maybe like Stu and Beasley, something like that. I think Stu's at like 16 and Beasley's at like 6. That's 22. But I'm just thinking numbers. I'm definitely not doing it for Stu. I'm not trading Lonzo for Stu. Absolutely not. But I'm just saying numbers wise, that would be something to look at. But I just don't want somebody who's injury prone, bro. I really don't want anybody who, and honestly, JB does too. It was funny. He actually says he's looking for guys who are available. And even more so, like Tom Gores even said that. To his credit, he said we had too much guys on the team who were just on the team. We need guys who are getting paid to play. That's what he said. So I'm like, yeah, there's hope for him yet. There's hope for him yet. Right, a fresh set of legs. Yeah, get him fresh set of legs. And I'm game all day long. That's who we got to trade, a fresh set of legs, no torso, just leg for leg. Right. At this point, bro. At this point, Jalen Duren DHOs kind of crafty. I can see Jalen Duren benefiting from the Aguirre tapes. Ooh, you know what? Just because you said that, I'm about to go watch some Mark Aguirre film tonight. J-Rag, I'm gonna do that tonight. Just because you brought him up. Shout out to Mark Aguirre, #1 overall pick, for sure. Good take. But the DHOs are gonna be fun. That's going to be fun. You know what I can see? I can see him kind of doing what Draymond does, or even Stu in this new offense, what Draymond does. Maybe not off the DHO. Does he do off the? I think he does do it off the DHO, but I thought it was maybe just off the handoff. But I think I've seen Draymond off the DHO fake the pass and just dart to the rim. I can see our guys doing some things like that. I think they have the ability, especially Stu, because Stu can handle the ball pretty well for a big guy. For a big guy, right? For a big man. Okay, let's see. Oh, I missed this one. How about Ivy only needing to play 23 minutes instead of the fourth quarter? The luxury. Right. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that doesn't happen this season. Hopefully we get none of that. Me neither. But if we do, it better be good. Yeah. Okay. So if we're gonna do it for more draft capital, okay. But it better be some good. It better be some. I don't want no picks from Denver or no picks from Boston. Nah, I want picks from the Hornets. You know what I mean? That's the kind of, yeah. So yeah, if we're getting solid draft capital back, you take a look at it. Yeah, for sure. Too much money on the bench, 100%. If Ivy starts, then are we going with Asar or Tech 9 at the 3? I'm gonna go with Asar. That's a good question, right? I'm gonna go with Asar. And just to be honest, I don't think there is a perfect starting 5 yet. I don't think we have that perfect starting 5 yet to where there's no deficiencies anywhere. We don't have that yet. I don't think. And the reason I say that, I'm just not talking about the starting lineup either. I'm talking about the bench, because I'm looking at the balance of the bench. On paper, I could see why you would think starting Tech 19, Fontecchio, would make more sense because he's a better shooter. And he's a good player, fine player. What does that do for your offense off the bench? Especially if you have J.I. starting, which I think he should. But that's why I have a Fontecchio off the bench. You're going to need some scoring punch, having a Fontecchio with Isaiah Stewart, with Jaden Ivey at the point. And Malik Beasley at the 2. Okay. I like that a lot better as opposed to Asar and not line up with those guys. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would start Asar over Fontecchio, because from a balance standpoint, and I know you're sacrificing shooting with that, a great deal of shooting, but I don't want when the bench lineup comes in, we're calling timeout 2 minutes into the into the lineup or, a minute into the lineup because they've given the lead up because they can't score. I don't want that. And so that's why I'm thinking from the starting and bench lineup, it just makes more sense to have to sacrifice that shooting in the starting lineup to preserve your bench, the balance of your bench. You know what I mean? And by doing that, I'm putting my confidence in Fred Vinson that he can help. Even year one, like I said, it's a process, but that he can help. He can admit that he can improve. If he doesn't improve from, 14% or 18%, then we got a problem. But so he's going to improve. But if he can get to 30% this year, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but if he can get there, then he solves that problem. And yes, it is nice to have such problems. It's a good problem to have. 100%. 100%. Asar with the stretch big is lethal. Him and Stu anchoring the benches. I like that. 100%. You give him driving lanes. You give him space, cutting. You have so many options, especially with eyes on J.I. if he's your backup point guard. See how it's kind of all coming together now? And then you got Fontecchio there as well. Yeah, there's definitely options, man. Definitely options. In our system, every player is a quasi point guard. I'm not even gonna answer that. I'm not answering this, J-Rag. I'm not answering this. Yeah, so I think we can call it there, y'all. We can call it there. I definitely. Oh, you know what? I didn't get to JD. Did we get to JD? My third guy. So let's do my third guy, and then we'll call it, right? So as far as who's going to benefit the most from this coaching staff, Jalen Duren is my third guy. So I had Cade, J.I., and JD. And Josh, you're silly for that. Nostraduces. That's hilarious. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all showing up and showing out with me, man. So look, Jalen Duren, right? I think his success is going to be predicated off of Cade's success. I think the success is kind of tied together. Because so much of what JD does well is based and predicated on having a guard or guards that can cater to his game. And having more scoring and spacing on the floor with Tobias, that's going to help JD's game a lot, especially in the pick and roll. So just having more shooting, with more shooting, the paint is going to be less clogged. We know that. But he should have more room to do what he does best for sure. And more importantly, defensively, though, I think JB is him and his staff. They're going to be really hard on him. I really hope they are hard on him because one thing JB Bickerstaff said is that he and his coaching staff, they like to teach. They like to teach. They don't just like to coach. They like to teach. It's a difference, right? So I'm not expecting JD to be like Jarrett Allen next season, but I'm expecting him to improve. I expect the coaching staff to demand him to lock in on the defensive side of the ball, even more so than on the offensive side of the ball. I would not be surprised if after next season, we're raving about his defense and not his offense. I would not be one bit surprised if we walk away next season saying JD is a better defensive player than he is offensive player. I would not be one bit surprised at all. I really just have a lot of confidence. I've seen what he can do, man. I've seen what JD can do defensively. I've seen it, and then I've not seen it, and I've seen such a stark contrast. It's like, come on. So anyway, that's what I really think he's gonna be a breakout player for this team. And yeah, we'll see. So we're gonna call it there, y'all. Been about an hour and a half in now. Appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. Josh, let me get you real quick. Do you think JD could average 3.5? It depends on his usage. Josh, because I'm looking at, I don't know how many players are going to be designed for him. But I could see some hockey. I could see a lot of hockey assists for him. Where he's making the initial pass to get the pass to the next guy that scores a bucket. I could see that. Just off of a swing, say he does get a post touch, right? And he kicks it out, and then there's another swing. And then that guy, I can see those types of assists from him, but just straight out of the post, making his move and I don't know. We could see it because we did see it in Summer League, his first as a rookie, right? We did see it, but I think next season, the focus for him is going to be more so defense. And I think he's going to be getting more hockey assists than anything. I don't think he's going to have a ton of plays drawn up for him, but I do think I think they're going to tell him, bro, focus on the defensive end. I think he can be a defensive of the year level player, all defense level player. I 100% do, 100% do, and I think that's going to be what he's told to focus on. I think JB and his staff are going to say, JD, bro, become a monster on this end. And the points will come easy. The points will come easy, right? Cade is going to find if you are a defensive presence, your point guard is going to make a point, pun intended, to find you, to reward you on the offensive end. It happens. It's basketball lingo, right? It's basketball language. It's just how it goes. They're going to because they want to make sure you stay motivated to keep playing that defense. So let me get you involved. Let you have some fun on offense. If he becomes a defensive guy that we need him to be, he is going to have his share of buckets. And I think that's where his offense is going to come from. So we'll end it there. Thank you guys for coming through. We'll be back this Thursday. King will be back with me as well. We'll get it popping. Appreciate you guys showing up, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys and to get to kick it with you guys and get you guys insight as well. So as always, man, we appreciate you. And Detroit versus everybody. Peace.